What do you do for abs? What do you do for cool? People ask me these questions 10 times a week. I want to talk to you today about a very hot topic. I want to talk about nutrition. What I do, what's out there, the most common theory, what you should do. I eat every 24 hours. Say I eat today 2 o'clock. I wait until tomorrow 2 o'clock-ish, and then I eat again. There are some caveats to that. The bottom line is, keeps me sharp, keeps me light, cleanses my body of glucose, and obviously it keeps me lean. Whichever way I look like now, I look the same throughout the whole year, give or take 1 or 2 percentage. And people tell you, yeah, you stay on a calorie deficit to lose weight. Yeah, there is some truth to that, but this is never the whole story. The other most common thing that people do is the cutting and bulking phase. Whenever I try to make a workout plan or a nutrition plan, or any kind of plan, I try to think of the results. How can I get consistent results? Whatever I reach out in the end, whether it's my muscle gains, body fat percentage, or even if I acquire some new information, how do I retain this information? How do I access it whenever I have the need? The cutting and bulking phase, what happens to your body when you do that? You try to stay lean for, let's say, half of a year. You're not eating dirty. You get religious about what you're eating. You calculate your calories. And then the second half of the year, you're just eating to gain as much volume as you can. Build big muscles, be a big boy. You're eating 200 grams of protein. If what you eat is not in correspondence to how much you work out, that extra protein is not going to magically transform into muscle. It's going to be broken down, transformed into glucose, and then stored as fat again. So he didn't do anything really. Just being on a calorie deficit is not sustainable. Say you need 2,000 calories a day, you start eating 1,800. For 3 to 4 months maybe, your body's gonna get used to this calorie deficit and it's gonna adjust its base metabolic rate to accommodate. And then you'd have to reduce the calorie deficit that you're on furthermore, and then you could go on and go on and go on indefinitely until you stop eating completely, which is obviously impossible. The second thing that people don't tell you when they talk about the calorie deficit is you're still eating the 1,800 a day, so you're in 200 calorie deficit, but you're eating out of these 1,800, you're eating 1,600 as carbs. Your body doesn't need that much carb. It uses what it needs and then it stores the rest as fat. You don't just need to be on a calorie deficit. The type of calories that you take in also matter. You can obviously assess any other plan based on the same criteria. Would it give me consistent results? How would it affect my body? I did not start by eating every 24 hours. What I did is I started with 16 and 8. So I eat in an 8-hour window, fast for 16 hours. And even when I'm eating in the 8-hour window, I'm not really free to eat anything. I usually ate twice, took care of what I ate. Then I started expanding. Maybe I could actually do 18 and 6, maybe I could actually do 20. Until it was actually up to 24 hours. This is basically intermittent fasting. I'm depriving my body of glucose for whatever period of time I'm fasting. I'm not using glucose as the main source of energy. The insulin sensitivity goes up. You have better, more efficient calorie burning. What foods do what to me? How do sweet potatoes affect my body? How do leaves affect my body? Which foods made me bloated? Which foods made me lean, bulky? How much protein I needed a day? Let's say work out 5 days a week. Do I need 90 grams of protein a day? Do I need 120 grams of protein a day? You want to find how the foods affect you. That's probably going to take you a year. And you need to start by really a small amount of protein and then see how your muscles react to it. Am I losing muscle mass? Then probably need a tad bit more. Don't confuse the fat that you're losing from your muscles with the actual muscle mass. So wait until you're in a proper lean position and then start measuring your muscle mass when you could actually see how the muscle is actually affected. So don't be tricked by that. Don't just go based off weight. Your weight could contain water. Your weight can contain the food that you just ate this morning. Once you figured this out, now you could figure out how much you need to fast, how much you need to eat a day. One caveat that I want to add though is that women in general need a bit more fat than men. If you're a woman, you probably don't want to be on a 5% body fat. That would be very dangerous, physiologically dangerous. You'd have to be taking a lot of supplements. Again, it's not sustainable. I'm trying to stay as natural as possible. If you want to stay as natural as possible, you don't want to do that. So if you're a woman, you do the exact same process, but you know that you probably need a bit more fat than a man. To wrap up, calorie deficit on its own is not enough. You need to see what type of calories you're taking in, what specific foods do to your body, and you need to find something that is consistent. That is probably not everything I have to say, but it's everything for now. Please like, share, and subscribe if you thought it was helpful.